Some of the biggest names in the league have finally announced where they'll be playing next season. Today, I'll be reviewing J.J. Watt's free agency decision, the Dak Prescott re-signing, and more.
Four-man rush. Fields has time. Watches downfield. It's Olave. He's got a touchdown! Ohio State! A deep strike, and the Buckeyes stretch the lead again. 56 yards. Wow.
Blitz is coming. Hurts sees it, gets rid of it. It's caught for the touchdown. Alshon Jeffrey.
On second down, he's back. He settles. He's throwing. End zone. Touchdown. It's Rashard Higgins. Welcome back, Rashard Higgins.
Hello and welcome to Air It Out. I'm your host, Simon Lupfer, and actually not with me today is the co-host, Harrison Payne. Harrison couldn't be here today because his computer that he records on just kind of died on him. It's broken all of a sudden, and obviously we can't get it fixed in time for this episode to go out tonight, because we've been trying throughout the week, but it just hasn't been working for him. So I'm kind of putting this together last minute, but I still want to, put out a good episode that covers a couple weeks worth of information, because obviously last week our episode was really just kind of explaining what was going on, how we're gonna do only Saturdays, once a week episodes for the rest of the off season. And obviously once the season starts back up again, we'll get back to 2 days. But yeah, today it's just me, and we're gonna get a full-length episode though. So obviously J.J. Watt is not completely new news. That kind of happened really last week, but he signed a 2-year, $28 million contract with the Arizona Cardinals, and he got a $12 million signing bonus from that. So honestly, J.J. Watt got a lot more than I thought he was going to get. And the Cardinals were not really a team that I was expecting to pursue him very hard, or expecting that he was going to sign with. And yeah, I mean, it really surprised me, because the Cardinals don't really have that many, looking through their defensive line at least, I don't really know any of those guys. So I was surprised that they were willing to give up that much money to J.J. Watt, who obviously has, quite a few years under him, and he's still obviously going to be like a Pro Bowl level player, but I don't know if he can carry a whole defense like he could when he was Defensive Player of the Year 3 times in 5 years, or however many it was. So that one just, it kind of, I'm confused by it, honestly. One thing that I did find funny about this, though, is when J.J. Watt was asked about how he didn't, how him signing with the Cardinals didn't get leaked anywhere, because the only source, he was the very first person to confirm that he had signed with the Cardinals, which usually isn't the case. Usually, like somebody from ESPN or like somebody inside an organization might leak it, but he had his brother's high school friend buy the team's shirts for him, like the top 4 or 5 teams that he narrowed it down to. He had his brother's high school friend buy all 5 of those shirts, and then JJ repaid him the money, so nobody from like the shipping company would put 2 and 2 together and be like, oh, well, he's going to be signing with the Cardinals. So yeah, and that's how that one picture of him just working out in the Cardinals shirt, that's the only That was the very first thing that confirmed he was going to be with the Cardinals. And then Dak Prescott, this happened, moving into more recent signings earlier this week, Dak Prescott signed a 4-year, $160 million extension with the Dallas Cowboys. And this is the second largest NFL contract ever, behind only Patrick Mahomes. Now, Patrick Mahomes' deal was $450 million, I think, but it was also for 10 years. So, obviously it's still worth more, but obviously Patrick Mahomes compared to Dak Prescott is not really that fair. Dak Prescott is a good quarterback, but he's not Patrick Mahomes level. And, the Cowboys, this is crazy because we've seen them for multiple months now be going back and forth with Dak and saying, we don't want to re-sign him because it's going to cost too much money and, we don't want to pay all that. We have other players we need to pay and all this and all that. And then here they come at paying him, honestly, probably more than he asked for, giving him the second largest contract in NFL history. And I just don't see where the thought process changed among Jerry Jones and other officials, because what made them go from a couple weeks ago saying, no, we don't want to pay him that much, we're gonna trade him or sign him for a very cheap contract, to $160 million, here you go. And one thing that came to mind when I thought of this is they might be able to give him that much money because Zeke might be kind of on the move out. We've talked about this in a previous episode about how Zeke has, I think, like 8% of the whole team's cap space, and that's way too much for a running back, who generally running backs' careers are shorter. They can get injured pretty easy. And for someone like Zeke, he's obviously good and he's worth however much you want to pay him, but with him and Dak on the same team, it would be really hard to just pay both of them what they were asking for. But on the other hand, this does kind of make sense to me. You have Amari Cooper. You have what's his name? CeeDee Lamb. And CeeDee didn't have a great year, but he definitely showed he had his moments, I would say, and he could grow into a really good receiver, especially with time, and more professional level coaching and whatnot. So, when you look at it like that, it does make it seem like maybe paying Dak his $160 million is perfectly viable. And to finish it up with Dak, he got, I think, $95 million at signing. So a lot of the contract is not actual yearly salary. It's a lot. Obviously $95 million at signing, and $164 million is the max it's gonna go. But he has, I think, $120 something million guaranteed. And I'm not sure if his contract voids at all. So we'll have to see about that. And then, actually, yesterday, on Friday, Cam Newton, I believe it was yesterday, Cam Newton signed a 1-year, $8 million extension with the New England Patriots, and there's an extra $6 million that is tied to NFL honors and postseason. So if Cam got, like an MVP or something, one of those awards that are always like the week before the Super Bowl or whatever, he gets extra money for that, and then he also gets extra money if New England makes the playoffs next year. So I think this is crazy. I haven't really followed the Patriots really ever because, I never liked Tom Brady, and, when he was gone, there was no reason to. But I think what I read was that Cam Newton only threw like 8 touchdowns last year, and he had 10 interceptions. Yeah, he had 8 touchdowns last year, which is 33rd in the league, which means some backup quarterbacks had more touchdowns than him because there are only 32 teams. And then he had 10 interceptions, which was tied for 18th. And his QPR was 47.0, and he had about 3,000 yards, but it was, it's still not that much. He was 24th in the league for those. So I don't know why. I don't see the reasoning behind New England re-signing Cam. I guess he's just cheap, and they think that maybe he can live up to his potential in his 2015, but I don't think we're ever going to see Cam Newton from post 2015 again. He's never going to be that talented, that athletic, and I think he's honestly just out of his prime at this point. But I'm going to look up real quick what pick the Patriots have this year. They have pick 15. So, Kyle Trask, is he in the draft? Yeah, we haven't talked about him. Yeah, I don't see why they wouldn't go with a quarterback when they have the 15th pick in the draft. You're getting essentially one of the top 15 players that's coming into the NFL this year. So I don't know why. I don't know what they see in him. I don't know if that was a Robert Kraft. I don't even know if he's still their owner or GM or whatever, or if it was like a Bill Belichick decision. But if we've learned one thing from this past season, it's that, the Patriots without Tom Brady are a whole different team, and you can't really look at them the same as when they had Tom Brady. And obviously a bunch of other pieces that, were there because Tom Brady wanted them there have moved, but there's still, your guys are all good enough to be playing in the pros, but they're not playing like a very good team. At least last year they didn't, so yeah. And finally, we have Tom Brady. Tom Brady also signed yesterday on Friday. He signed a 4-year contract. I don't have the numbers because I've been looking all over the place and I can't find the numbers, or the price, I should say. But he has a 4-year contract, and it's voidable after 1 year. He can void it after 1 year. So essentially what this does is, first of all, it keeps Tom Brady in Tampa through 2022. And then what the message Tom Brady is trying to send to his guys by signing this is, we want to keep everybody here. He wants all the Super Bowl team. He wants everybody to stay. He doesn't want anybody to go. And this shows because his deal was not very expensive, and it raised the cap hit, and it raised, the amount that they're going to be able to pay their star receivers and their defensive backs and whatnot. So, as much as we like to kind of hate on Tom Brady, it's, whatever he can do for an 8th ring, if that means not getting paid as much, obviously he doesn't need it. It's not like he needs the extra money, but the fact that he's willing to go down just to kind of send that message to his guys and say, we can go get another one, that's it's pretty impressive to me, at least. So that's really all I have today. Shorter episode, obviously, but I was the only person with input. So if Harrison's computer is still broken by the time next episode rolls around, I might be able to get a guest or someone else on here just for an episode or two. But yeah, right now I'm just kind of putting this together last minute, but it's no big deal. And so, yeah, I don't even know what episode we're on right now. I think this is episode 12, maybe, if you want to count last week as an episode. Yeah, so thank you guys for tuning in to episode 12. And as always, make sure you're subscribed, following, on whatever platform you're listening on. And if you wouldn't mind to go on to Apple Podcasts, you don't have to if you don't listen on Apple Podcasts, but especially if you listen on Apple Podcasts, if you would leave us a review out of 5 stars and write us, what you think, that would be greatly appreciated. And that's pretty much all I have. We'll just hope that Harrison can get back with us next week, and we'll see you in episode 13.